Hello everyone, this is Frank again with today's topic, the Pager7, which is a multi-purpose contact-controlled communicator with alarm functions. As usual, we will check the product models, the key functions of the device, the hardware, and we'll go through the mobile application and programming. You can use this device as a 4 or 6 zone standalone alarm control panel with arming and disarming options, or as a standalone transmitter for reporting the state of outputs of switches of machines or other equipment. It can also be used as an optional communicator for old alarm systems which were not equipped with a communicator. The IP camera support function makes it possible to use the device for guarding tasks with camera surveillance options. And it can also be used in building engineering and agriculture for controls based on temperature sensor information. Now let's see the product models. We have two types of this product, one with 6 inputs and 1 relay output, and one with 4 inputs and 2 relay outputs. And we also have a 3G and a 4G variant of each. There is no difference between the 3G and 4G. It's only the built-in modem, so the functions are exactly the same. This device has a USB port which can be used for local programming and firmware update, a GSM antenna connector, a SIM card bay where you can install the SIM card, a status LED which shows the device status, and the system connector where you can connect the DC power, which can be 12 to 30 volts DC. The device is protected against over voltage, and it is also protected against low voltage with an under voltage lockout circuit. If the voltage goes below a critical level, this circuit will switch the device off and will switch it back on when the voltage restores to 12 volts or above. Here you can see the 4 contact inputs. You can connect the contacts, dry contacts between the V- and the given input. The contacts can be normally open or normally closed, which you can configure in the device. And you have the 2 relay outputs, which are normally open dry contacts. In the download section, as usual, you can find the user's manual, the software, which is available for Linux, for macOS, and Windows as well. And you can find the IP camera detector, which I will talk about later. The firmware is also available, all versions. We recommend that you use the latest version because we always develop our device, improve the functions, build in new functions, and do bug fixes as well. The mobile application is available in the App Store and on Google Play for iOS and Android phones. let's see which are the key functions of the device. Controlling the inputs with dry contacts will generate an event to which you can associate actions such as controls, reporting, and messaging. Arming and disarming is possible using the mobile app or using one of the inputs on the device. For this, you can use any device that provides a dry contact, for example, a key switch, radio controls, relay module, an access control keypad, or a simple toggle switch. The device has configurable normally open and normally closed zone inputs with alarm-specific options such as 24 zone, 4 zone, follow, and entry and exit delay. You can associate the inputs to up to 2 partitions, which can be armed and disarmed separately. The normally open relay outputs can be controlled by events and remotely by users as well. With the freely configurable event and action pairs, you can associate any number of actions to any event, which we will see later. This allows the device to be widely used in various applications. The PC software and the mobile app has an active desktop, which you can see here, with active tiles, which you can freely customize at will. Up to 16 IP cameras that support the on-with protocol can be associated with zones, and when an alarm occurs, the PC application offers automatically viewing the picture of the related cameras, and you can even record the pictures if needed. The device can send push, email, and SMS notifications with configurable messages when events occur, or can even make calls up to 8 phone numbers with up to 8 voice messages of 8 seconds each that you can upload from audio files here in the settings. Up to 6 receivers can be configured for reporting to monitoring station. For this, 2 communication protocols are supported, the CADC09 and the Telmon protocol, which is Tel's custom protocol and works with the Telmon receiver. You can configure a contact ID event code for each event. Search tool is also available in the software to find the appropriate event code. Now let's see how this device works. Let me share my mobile phone as well. The mobile app is called Pager Control. It's this one on the left side with P and C on the icon. In the application, you can register any number of Pager7 devices. Now we have only one registered here, which we can select by tapping on it. And this will load the interface, which you can customize at will. As you can see, it looks almost the same as the PC application. The PC application can also be customized, and the interface is responsive, so it adapts to the size of the browser, of the application. Now, you can see that we have 2 partition buttons here. We can use these for arming and disarming the two partitions. We have two relay control buttons for controlling the two outputs. We can see the zones which we have configured. Now there are 3 zones and 1 input for a temperature sensor, which shows the actual temperature. And we have 3 cameras associated with zones. And in the PC application and also in the mobile application, you can add quick tiles for accessing the menus which you are using frequently. Now let's arm the partition. I will do that in the mobile application. And you see that you can see the armed status in the PC application as well. And also a push notification has arrived that the partition has been armed. Now, if an alarm goes off, for example, in the entrance zone, we receive the alarm in both applications and the push notification also in the mobile app. With the clear alarm button, we can clear the alarm, which will stop the alarm process, and will also turn off the relay, which is used for the siren, actually. It's this one here. So this should turn off. You can also turn on and off the siren manually if you want. The other relay I'm using for heating. So if the temperature goes below a certain level, heating will turn on, and when it reaches the upper level, heating will turn off. Now let me show you the device. It's here, this is the Pager7 with the zone inputs and the temperature sensor. So let's make an alarm on the temperature sensor. When it goes below 20 Celsius, heating will turn on. Temperature below 20, and see that heating turned on automatically. You can also see that here the output has been activated. And when the temperature goes up to 28 Celsius, the relay will turn off and will stop heating. Now let's do this. And the push notification has been received telling me that 28 Celsius has been reached. And the relay turned off. Still here in the mobile application, you can see the cameras, the picture of the configured cameras. You can add them to the mobile application by tapping on the edit button here. Basically, here you can delete any icon and you can add new icons at will. Of course, only the ones which will fit there will be offered by the mobile application. Now, let's add the partition. You can select which partition to add. Now we need the partition 1 because that's the one which we have deleted. Okay, and it's back. And here you can add any icon which you want. For example, camera picture, let's see, this one. And we can select which camera to add. That would be camera number 2. And also, you can add zones. It will offer automatically the zones which you have configured in the device, and they are listed by name. You can add temperature sensors. Now we have only one temperature sensor, thereby we can't select only one. Or you can add larger picture for the zones, which carries more information. And when you're done, just click on Ready. And that's it. Of course, if you want, you can see a larger picture of the camera by tapping on the camera buttons here, which you can add separately. And you can see a full screen picture if you rotate the phone. Now, this is our production line at TEL. You can see the pick and place machines working. The same way, you can delete any icon which you don't need. Now we have a Telmon receiver configured in the device, which will receive the messages from the Pager7 using this user identifier 6622. Now we see that it has already received some reports, but let's make an alarm. Let it be first the entrance. You can see that it has arrived to the receiver as well. That was zone 1 in partition 1. Then the production line motion detector. That was zone 2. And zone number 3 is the production line fire detector. And the relay is fire in zone 3. For the temperature, the same. So if the temperature goes below 20 volts, 20 Celsius, low temperature event is received here as well. And when it goes back above 28, the high temperature report is received. Okay, let's see how we can configure this in the device. You can find the menu here in the upper left corner. It's the hamburger menu. As I have mentioned, the PC software will offer automatically viewing the cameras associated with the given zone, where an alarm has been detected. So if you click on the cameras button, it will automatically open the cameras menu and will show only the camera or cameras associated with the given zone. Here you can also record the picture on one camera, or if you have more than one camera, you can record the picture on all cameras at the same time using this button. Then recordings you can play back in this menu here, clicking on the playback button. Recordings will be listed here. So let's stop the alarms. Now, in this menu, you can return to the dashboard, but you can do the same by clicking on the tell icon. The first menu is the module status menu, where you can see the status of the inputs. You can see the 3 inputs and the temperature sensor input. You can see the state of the outputs. We have the heating relay and the siren relay. The status of the partitions. Partition 1 is now armed. Partition 2 is not used and it is not armed. The status of the connections. This is very important when you mount the module, and after installation you can check if the connections are okay. So now USB is connected, the device is connected to the mobile network, and it is also connected to the mobile internet and to the cloud service. And in the module info menu, you can find the identifier of the device, which is used for remote programming and also for registering the device in the mobile application, which you can do using this QR code here. Also, important information might be the firmware version of the device, the version of the software, and the ICC ID of the SIM card installed in the device and the operator to which is currently connected to. Now, let's see how we configure the inputs. You can add a name to each input at will. You can select an icon for the given input, and the given icon will automatically be shown here on the connector of the device, so you know immediately what you have connected to the given input. You can select the type of the given input, which can be a zone input or a switch input. So if you want to use it as a zone, you can select normally closed or normally open zone input. If you want to use the given input for arming and disarming, you can choose one of the switch options, depending on what type of contact you are using. And also, you can use the input for connecting temperature sensors. A temperature sensor can be connected to any input. So if you want to use the device only for temperature monitoring, with the 6-input device, you can use up to 6 temperature sensors. You can also configure the sensitivity of the inputs. Milliseconds, seconds, and minutes units are available for this. And for inputs which you have configured as zones, the zone options will become available. And here you can enable and disable the given zone. This is a bypass option. You can associate the zone with partitions, 1, 2, or both. You can configure zone options such as the 24-hour zone, follow zone, or force zone, and you can add entry delay and exit delay to any of the zones. Now I will click on the reset because I don't want to change any settings here. Otherwise, you have to save using the save button. In the output settings, you can configure the 2 outputs. You can select an icon for the output. The output can be set to bistable mode, which means that it can be turned on permanently and turned off. If it is selected to be a monostable input, so bistable is not selected, then you can add a delay, how long the given output should be activated when an alarm occurs, for example. Also, seconds, minutes, and hours units are available for this setting. And a name can be added to each input as well. Output, sorry. For the partitions, you can add a name to each partition, and there is an always armed option, which you can use, for example, if you are using fire smoke detectors in the given partition only, so you don't want to arm and disarm the given partition, just you want to be always armed, you can use this option. We have seen this menu. This is the menu for viewing the cameras. And let's see the menu for configuring the module settings. Here in the GSM settings menu, you can configure the phone number of the SIM card inserted in the Pager7. You can limit the SMS sending, so you can add a limitation here. You can configure the SMS center phone number for the given SIM card, and you can configure where to forward the SMS messages received on the SIM card. Here you can select the phone numbers to which these messages should be configured. The phone numbers can be configured in a different menu here. In the connection settings menu, you can configure the access point name, which is necessary for connecting to the mobile internet. You can get this from the mobile service provider where you have purchased the SIM card. Sometimes the username and the password is also required. In that case, this will be also provided by the service provider. And here in this section, you can find the cloud settings, which are configured by default, so you don't have to change that. The URL and the port number of the server. In this section, you can change the two passwords of the device. The device can use an admin password and a user password. The admin can access all settings, while the user can only control the device and see the status of the device. In this section, you can configure an NTP server. This is used for setting the system time, but the system time is also set automatically from the cloud if you are using the device with the mobile app and the cloud. So in that case, you don't really need the NTP server, but you can enter one if you want. You can also synchronize the time from the PC. Here in the installer settings, you can add an email address where the system can send information about updates. In the location settings, you can configure the location for the map, so where you have installed the device. You can enter the location by address here, or select the location on the map by just double-clicking. Here in this section, you can upgrade the firmware manually, but you can do this automatically as well, because the mobile application will automatically offer updating the device if there is a new update released. So you just have to click on a button and the device will automatically download the update from the server and will update itself. Here at the bottom, you can reset the factory default settings, and you can do a device reboot if necessary for some reason. In the camera settings menu, you can add up to 16 cameras, which should be on with cameras. You can add a name to the camera, and you need the snapshot and the stream URL for the cameras. And you can associate one camera with one or more zones. So you can add one camera to one or more zones, or add one or more cameras to the same zone. So you can also select Z1 here. So in that case, if you have more than one camera in a room and only one zone, you can associate them with each other. Now, how you can get the links from the cameras? You can use the software of the camera or the documents of the camera if available. Or you can use the software developed by TEL for this purpose. You can click on the Detect Cameras button. It will automatically scan for cameras in the given network. So in the local network where the PC is connected. Two cameras have been found here. One of them is locked with a username and password. We can access the data only if we enter the username and password. The other one is not locked. We can see that there are two profiles in this camera, and it will show us the stream URLs for the two profiles and the snapshot URLs for the two profiles. All you have to do is just click on the nodes icon for the URL which you want to copy. So if you need the high resolution stream URL, you have to click on this icon. And if you need the same for the snapshot, you have to click on this icon, and it will copy the URLs to clipboard, which you can then paste here. Now there is a difference. Here you have the local IP of the given camera, but here you need the external IP of the given router, which should be static IP or can be a DNS name. So in order to be able to access the camera, you need a static IP or a DNS name to be configured in the router. And of course, you have to replace the local IP with the external IP of the router and do the port forwarding for the given camera in the router for both links, for the snapshot and for the stream link as well. So with this button, you can add up to 16 cameras to the system. Now, the most important setting QR code is not available because cameras usually use the QR code for connecting over the cloud operated by the camera's manufacturer, which is not using the ONBIF protocol. It uses a custom protocol. This device can only use the ONBIF protocol. Okay. Now, in this section, you can configure the events and the actions which you want to use in the device. In the drop-down menu, you have the set of events available in the device. There are system type events, partition type events, partition arming and disarming, alarm type events when alarm goes on and off, zone type events, zone detection and zone restore, sensor type events. The device can monitor the input voltage, and you can configure events and actions for any level which you want. And you can also configure any number of levels for the temperature sensors. And you have a sensor lost and sensor restored event, which you can use to supervise the sensors. Switch type event, switch on off. If you are using the zone, the input as a switch input, you can use these events to arm and disarm, for example, the system. But of course, they can launch any other action. And relay type events. So when the relay closes or the relay opens, you can add actions such as reporting to monitoring station or sending a push notification when someone closes, opens the relay, or any event closes or opens the relay. Now I have added the 3 zones here, 3 zone detection events, my temperature sensor events, an alarm event. So when there is a detection in one zone, when the system is armed, it will generate an alarm on event. And when you press the clear alarm button in the mobile app, it will generate the alarm off event, and it will switch off the relay and will stop the alarm. And we also have the partition arm and partition disarm events, which will generate push notifications only. Now let's see how we configure this. If you open this section, here you can find the actions which I have already added, and you can also add new actions using this button. You can select the actions from the drop-down list, such as sending SMS, sending email, making a call, closing or opening a relay, arming and disarming the system. Now we have an alarm configured, so when the zone detects a motion and the system is armed, it will generate the alarm, which will be received in the mobile app and here in the software as well. It will also send a push notification to this phone, which is registered with this message. You can add custom messages at will here. Up to 16 messages can be added to the system. And it will also report the given alarm to the monitoring station using one of the templates which I have configured for the monitoring station, and using this event code here, which is a burglar alarm, and 1 means that it is a new event. So I haven't configured now the restore event, but you can do that as well, just by entering number 3 instead of 1 here for the restore event. By pressing on the search button, the search tool will open, where you can search for events by name or by event code. For example, the burglar alarm, see the new and the restore event, which I have talked about, or let's say AC loss events. Okay, I have done the same for zone number 2 and zone number 3, of course, with different push notification messages. Zone number 2 is also a burglar alarm, and zone number 3 uses the fire alarm event code because it is used for reporting a fire event. Okay, for the sensors, the same way, I have added a relay closing action, where you can choose which relay to close. Of course, the application will automatically offer the options which you have configured. If you want to set a time, you can also do that. Otherwise, it will activate the relay permanently or as configured in the output settings. This event will also generate a push notification sending with this message here, temperature below 20. And we'll also report to monitoring station using this contact ID code here, which is 1159, low temperature. One more thing, sorry. You have an edit button here where you can configure the temperature limit, which you want to use for the given event. And for the sensor over limit event as well. I have configured the 28 Celsius. This will open the relay so it will stop heating, and will also send a push notification and a report to the monitoring station. Now for the alarm event, this will close the relay, especially the siren relay. So it will activate the siren for 60 seconds. Or if you have canceled the alarm from the mobile application or from the desktop application, the alarm will go off, will stop, and it will generate the alarm off event, which will open the relay automatically, so the siren will stop. For partition arming and disarming, I have only configured reporting to monitoring station and a push notification, which you have seen in the mobile application that has been received. Of course, you can add a lot more events, so you can configure sensor events, let's say sensor below limit, which sensor, this one because we have only one, and you can configure the limit here, add event, add an action. Let's say if it goes below 10 Celsius, I want to receive a call to which phone number, let's be this, and there are no sounds available yet because I have not uploaded any audio files yet, but I will show you how to do that. Okay, so I will remove this action now. So that's how you can configure the events and actions in the device. And this table shows you which options have been configured, such as SMS sending, email sending, making a call, reporting to the monitoring station, relay closing, relay opening, arming, disarming, toggle arming, alarm, clearing the alarm, and sending push notifications. Here in the text templates menu, you can configure the messages for emails, SMS, and push. See, we have this set of messages already configured, but you can add new messages at will. And then in the events and actions menu, when you configure an event, you can select one of these messages. For emails, you have to enter the subject and the message itself. For SMS, you need the message only. In the phone numbers section, you can configure up to 8 phone numbers, which can be used for reporting alarms to users. You can enter a name for the given user, their phone number, and you can also configure permissions for receiving the call. These are the acknowledge permissions. So when a call is received or the given user rejects the call, the event will automatically be acknowledged. So the device will not call again. And stopping other alarms means that if the given user presses the hash button in the call, then the device will stop sending notifications to further users. In the email section, you can configure the email recipients, the name, and the email address. Here in the surveillance settings menu, you can add up to 6 receivers. You can configure the name for the receiver, the communication protocol, which can be the Telmon used with our Telmon receiver, or the DC09 standard protocol. The client ID is the user account ID used to report to the given monitoring station. You don't need a group ID. The frequency for supervision messages, so it will send messages by 3 minutes. And the IP address, the communication protocol, and the port number for the receiver. Here in the template section, you can configure which receiver should be the primary and which should be the backup. You can select the receivers if you have added more than one here in this drop-down menu, and the ones which are for which you enable the server is backup option. Those will be backup receivers, so reports will be sent to those receivers only in case that reporting fails to the primary ones. Here in the push notification menu, you can see the registered devices. You can't add here any devices. These will be added automatically when you register the mobile application using the QR code. But you can change the name of the device if you want. And then in the event settings, as you can see, for the push notifications, the given device is selected with a given name. In this section, you can configure the maximum alarming time. This refers to the event of to this event, alarm on and alarm off. So how long should take the alarm itself? So in case that you don't clear the alarm in the mobile application or in the desktop application, the alarm off event will be generated automatically after 3 minutes. You can also limit the maximum number of alarms per zone. This is also available in burglar alarm systems. So you can, let's say, limit the number of alarms to 3. It means that when you arm the system, after you arm the system, maximum 3 alarms can go off, and the 4th alarm will not generate an alarm already. Disarming the system will clear this counter. Or if you are using the always armed option for the partition, so you can't arm and disarm the given partition, in that case, you can set a restriction time. So let's say 3 alarms can occur in 1 hour. And after 1 hour, the device will automatically clear the counter, will reset the counter. Here in the sounds menu, you can upload the audio messages used for calls. You have 3 predefined audio files here, which are kind of siren tones. But you can upload any audio message here using the upload button. It's a new file, and you can select a wave sound file And then using the upload button, you can upload that here in this slot and add a name to this audio message. Thereafter, you can select the given audio message in the events and actions menu when you configure the events. Here in the logs menu, you can see the event logs of the device. All events which have occurred in the device. So these are the newest ones at the top of the page. In the debug section, you can see the debug logs of the device. Also, 80 commands are available. This is needed when you encounter a problem with the device. We used to ask you to save the debug logs. You can export that to file, and then we can check and see what the problem is with a given device. And the last one, the configuration menu. Here you can save the given config to file and then load into another device, or if you have changed the settings and want to load the default settings again, which you have saved, you can load them from file. Now let's see how you can configure this interface here. The same way as in the mobile application, click on the edit button, and then you can delete or add any icon that you want. And of course, you can also move these icons where you want. As I have mentioned, these are used for accessing the menus directly. For example, the event settings, if you are using this menu frequently, or the logs, or viewing the cameras or the module status. Okay. Let's see how we connect to the device. When you start the software, you have two options: connecting over the internet and connecting over USB. For USB, you need a USB AV cable to be connected between the device and the PC. The default password is 1111, 4 times 1. This is the admin password, and the user password is 2222, 4 times 2. And then just click on connect, and it will connect to the device. When you want to connect over the cloud, you will need the device identifier, this one here. So you can copy the identifier from here in the module info menu. And then you can add your device here. You can add a name and paste the device identifier here in this section. And it will create a new entry. When you want to connect remotely to the device, just click select on, just select that entry, enter the password 11111, login, and it will connect through the cloud. Thereafter, you can configure the device just when you are connected, just like when you are connected through USB. let's see how we register the mobile application. Now for that, I have to delete this device from here and here in the push notifications section. Okay, so now it is deleted. And for adding, we need the QR code, sorry, which is in the module status menu, module info. Yes, we click on the plus sign here, read the QR code, add a name for the device, and the password, which is now 1111. Click Save, and there it is. If you open it, here we get a message that the config has been changed because a registration has been done. The application will load automatically the default settings for the zones and for the partitions and relay outputs. So we'll create this default desktop for you, which you can then change at will. So if we go here back, we can see, sorry, we have to log out and log in again in order to read the settings. Yes, and there it is, our registration. And we can control the device. And the message has been received on the receiver as well, opened by user. Now we haven't received a push notification because we have deleted the registration, so we have to associate again in the event settings. See, we have troubles here because the push notification has no associated device. We have to do that again for each device because we have deleted the given device. it's okay.